Hello, my name's Michael Conneely, and this video is about violence from the Mars transit in May 2021, and it's one of the parts of our Star Wheel Astrology and Healing newsletter for May 2021. So basically, there is a strong current of anger and violence from Mars in May 2021. We need to be careful around anger management during May. Be careful of your boundaries. Minimize your stress. There's obviously long-standing streak of fear and panic. So avoid the mind destabilization from social divisiveness and conspiracy theory tidal wave that's been going on. Make or break relationships at this time which you sincerely judge are holding you back. Cultivate and heighten your inner vision. There's a powerful Neptune energy, as I mentioned last month in that video. So you could well have to face the anger that's endemic in the world virtual community, or anger from a person. So above all, make the connection to the divine heart of love. So this video and blog is part of our May 2021 newsletter, and if you go to my Star Wheel Astrology website and go to the 2021 page, you'll see all the parts of the newsletter listed, and the links to their videos and blogs will appear successively in the early part of the month. And there's a fascinating collection. So what's all this trouble with Mars about? Well, basically Mars transits from 10 degrees to 28 degrees Vedic Gemini in May 2021. Now, Gemini isn't the heart of the issue. The heart of the issue is the nakshatra Ardra within Gemini. But first of all, we do have to perceive what's the energy of Mars transiting the sign of Gemini. So favourably, it's a quick mind, problem-solving ability, energy for literary projects, and shall we say, powerful communication. Negatively, it's the sharp tongue, the impatient, restless arguer. But here's the big hit. Remember, within the sign of Gemini, Mars is now transiting through the implacable, my way or the highway, storm energy of Ardra nakshatra, ruled by Rahu, the North Node. And that transit of Mars is the 1st to the 28th of May. Now Ardra is ruled by the storm god Ardra, the howler, a ferocious form of Lord Shiva. Ardra is the fury of Brahma, but we humans can so easily misuse that. Mars in Ardra can create ruthless concentration camp guard, the angry fundamentalist preacher, the out-of-control social media misfit, ranting and imposing his fundamentalist conspiracy theories, the person who condemns any deviant from his or her approved dogma and consigns them to the flames. As I was writing this post, I saw a headline from a UK newspaper notification that I did feel was an omen for this energy of Mars transiting Ardra. London horror, boy 13 stabbed multiple times on way to school in the capital. A boy has been hospitalised after suffering stab injuries on his way to school, leaving him fighting for his life. It comes just days after a teenager was fatally stabbed earlier this week. He was attacked on Monday afternoon in Canning Town, East London. So you see what I'm talking about. Mars, transiting Ardra nakshatra, ruled by Rahu, has self-righteous, mind-billowing and obsessional righteousness and violence. Violence and agitation will increase even more at this time. So how can we handle that? Well, basically, I personally always like to remind myself of the need for vision connection with the divine nature of each planet at times like this. So I find it very good to connect with the divine nature of Mars now at this time of Mars torsion, the way we humans will experience Mars energy. You see, each planet is a face of the divine, although we humans have to do work to grow and learn to experience that each planet is a face of the divine. This is because our individual destiny in this incarnation is to experience the divine nature of each planet through filters of sign, house and aspect that the planet is in. But we're actually here to bring a more divine perspective to this, our incarnational egoic nature and awareness. I actually love doing vision work within different spiritual pathways. And from 1998 I did a 5-year ethnographic field study, university-based study of spiritual forms new to the modern West that involved actually living in the communities that were being studied because the method was ethnography. Hinduism and Vedic astrology, of course, has a hugely rich background in vision work to contact faces of the divine, as do many other spiritual backgrounds. I actually studied Hinduism, Buddhism, paganism, shamanism and utopian community. For my study of Tibetan Buddhism, when I lived in a Tibetan Buddhist Gompa on and off for 5 years, I found it has a rich and vast tradition of deity puja, and I loved meeting the Tibetan gods, Tibetan Buddhist gods and goddesses, each in his or her pure land, and indeed going on to arise as deity myself. It is actually so important for us to be able to connect to faces of the divine, including the truth that each planet is a particular face of the divine. Now let's look at the actual nature of planet Mars energy. Mars is the planet of power, strength, courage and aggression, our ability to project with force in life, our goal-orientated action. A strong Mars provides energy, independence, will and self-confidence to carry out our endeavours. It's challenging and daring. But we humans can of course bring out the negative and dark sides of Mars and his Earth energy, the dark side of the abyss, with our impulsions to destroy the creation and return the universe to its raw state of chaos. But of course on a higher level, Mars directs us to use the yogas of knowledge and gives us self-discipline and the practice of rituals and methods of directing occult and spiritual energies. Mars is the son of Earth in Hindu mythology. He's called Kuja, the one born from Earth. He is the secret flame hidden in matter. As with all deities, it's good to do a vision journey or ritual to connect with the divine Mars, especially at times like this. And incidentally, my study of Hinduism was 5 years field study on and off in Scandervale in South Wales, the ashram there. And quite wonderful, pujas and rituals are done there. Now, to understand the current Mars energy for 2021 May, of course you must check out which house Gemini is in your Vedic birth chart to find out what area of your life will be particularly affected. And so go to my May 2021 Star Wheel Astrology website page, and on the May 2021 web page you'll find links to the meanings of each house in your Vedic birth chart and many other useful click-to information pages for signs, houses, nakshatras, retrogrades, eclipses, Saturn transits, 2021 transits, etc. So you actually check out what house a Gemini is in your Vedic birth chart, and that'll give you the area of life that this Mars energy will manifest in May. And also remember, when you're seeking to work out how this transit of Mars may affect you, remember that Mars casts aspects to houses 4, 7, 8 and 9. In other words, to Virgo, Sagittarius and Capricorn too. They are also affected by this Mars energy I'm talking about. And so you need to check out which houses they are in your Vedic birth chart. Note that by the end of May, on May the 28th, Mars actually leaves Ardra nakshatra and enters Punarvasu nakshatra. And it's a different energy. It's ruled by Jupiter, and the risk there is that Mars will foment and drive question after question after question without realizing the importance of answers. The temperament of Punarvasu is Deva or divine. It is the first ray of sunlight after the storm of Ardra, but it has the Gemini over-communication risks and the risk of proneness with Mars there to endless intellectualizing questioning. Now, another thing to be aware of, which further boosts this very difficult energy of Mars, is that Mars is out of bounds at this time. In other words, a planet is out of bounds when it's more than 23 degrees north or south of the equator, and any planet that's out of bounds is not really connected to the Sun. It lacks the divine guidance of the Sun, and so the planet's energy is feral. Now, normally there are no out-of-bound planets, but weirdly in May 2021 there are 4 out-of-bound planets. This is an extremely rare occurrence, and it adds to the torsion and tension. Also remember, while this Mars furore is going on, there are other quite tense and fierce energies at this time that will provide a difficult background to our consciousness and that we need to learn to deal with. So Saturn is transiting Capricorn as Pluto is. So the power urge, that can be a rightful power urge of Pluto, is smashing against Saturn, where of course Saturn can manifest as negative blocks and prison walls and confining scripts. Secondly, Uranus is exactly conjunct the Sun at the beginning of May, and Uranus is casting an exact square aspect to Saturn. In other words, Uranus, planet of revolution, including needed revolution, planet that was discovered at the time of the storming of the Bastille and the American War of Independence against British colonialism, is smashing against Saturn too. See my separate video on what it means to have Saturn so under attack. Thirdly, of course, there's the very violent eclipse of May the 26th. That has to be taken into account. So in conclusion, we need to be careful of our management of anger, our own and other people's anger that will be coming at us from individuals or from the great mass of humanity, often through social media at this time. We may have to be watchful and careful about how we deal with aggressive loudmouths or unstable people. You see, there is a spiritual message and a spiritual challenge for us with all this at this time from this heightened aggression. And so you might like to do an envisioning of Mars the God, Mars the face of the divine, to center you in the divine warrior energy. I love that sort of thing. You'll need to maintain your boundaries. You'll need to avoid letting the conspiracy theorists' social media ranting enter and harm your mind and consciousness. And above all, we must embody ourselves in connection to the divine heart of love. So from this very difficult energy of Mars in Ardra, instead we also now have the chance to realize love and wisdom in our lives and actually manage and rise above the violence of intensity. So you can get a reading from me by going to my Star Wheel Astrology buy page. And as I said, look up the links for all the other parts of the May newsletter by going to our May 2021 Star Wheel Astrology web page. Thank you.